Okay, good afternoon. Today we are going to see equipment planning for the construction. Okay, before going into the topic, let me see what is equipment planning. Equipment planning is nothing but arranging all the necessary equipments, right, from excavators to all concrete mixing ingredients, then floor finishing machines, etc., etc. Before well in advance, that is before planning the work, you have to book all the machines so that it will be available at the right time for your construction work. Says, for example, if you are going to excavate the soil for digging the for building a foundation, equipment such as JCBs will be required, or else a trench line excavator will be required. So you have to book the JCB or trench line excavator before planning. Why? Because if you are delay in booking the machine, I mean JCBs or trench line excavators, they will be held with some other activities, so that your work will not be started at the right time. So you will be facing a delay in the construction work, and as well as there will be loss in cost of the construction also. Okay, next will be next. Moreover, if you're booking any machines or equipments which are necessary for your work, you have to be ensured that at least 75% of the value of the work is attained with the help of that machine. If not, then there will be loss of money, as well as it will be leading to increases the cost of construction also. And at the same time, during the initial stage of the project, it is not mandatory to bring all the equipments to the construction site. Why? Because at the initial stage, the work will be very slow, and only few manpower is also required for executing the work. So at that time, it is not mandatory to bring all the equipment. And based on the speed of the construction project, the machineries which are required can be brought up, and it can be utilized for the work in the later phases. And next, we'll be seeing about selection of equipments. Before selecting the equipment for your construction activity, we have to follow some guidelines. First one is, based on your economic value of the project, you have to decide what type of machinery you are going to use for the particular work. And also, meanwhile, you have to select the equipment based on your area of expertise. I mean, before buying an equipment or machine for your work, I mean, for your project work, you have to get some information from the experts, so that the machine can be utilized throughout the project. Okay. Then additionally, you should not procure any second machines. Why? Because it will lead to some problems during the during the execution of the work, and this will leads to delay in the construction activities, as well as it will leads to increases the cost of construction. And once you identify the machine, you have to make a decision whether you're going to buy it, or you're going to rent it, or you're going to lease it for a particular period. So this comes based on your economic value of the project. If your economic value of the project is much higher, then you can able to buy a material, I mean buy a machine, so that it can be used for all the upcoming future projects. If your value of the project is very medium, you can rent it. So it says, for example, you can take it for a daily basis. So you can pay the amount on daily. So at the end of the day, you can able to pay the amount. Or else you can go it for lease. Lease means you can able to get the machine for a particular duration. Says, for example, 1 month or 1.5 months or 2 months. Based on your need, you can take the machine for that particular duration. And within the duration, you have to use the machine to the fullest for successful completion of your project. Then common factors. Now we are going to see what are the common factors which is going to affect your selection of equipments. first one is nothing but your scope of the work, what type of work you are going to do, and for that work, what kind of machineries which is required. So based on the work, material machines should be selected, and it has to be employed. First thing. And the second thing is use of availability. As I said earlier, construction of a building is not an easy task. It requires huge amount of money, as well as it requires huge amount of labors. So based on the labor availability, you have to select the type of machines, as well as based upon the economic value of the project, you have to select the suitable machines. And next comes the suitability for job condition. Based on your site condition, this comes your site condition. Generally, India is a tropical country. We can expect sudden rain, sudden wind, and so on, so things. So therefore, we have to be in proper precaution to protect the machineries from the extreme climate, as well as our work should not work will also be continued without any disturbances. Okay. And next comes the size of equipment. In general, large scale machineries have the tendency to produce higher outputs. Meanwhile, it has higher initial cost. The initial cost of the machine is due to transportation. That is nothing but shipment of your machines from one particular location to another location. So during the initial stage of the project, I mean the construction work, large scale machineries can be avoided and small scale machineries can be employed for the starting of the project. And I'm not saying that the small scale, large scale machineries are not required for the project. It can be utilized, but whenever needed, you can able to choose it based on your requirements. Then next comes the standard equipments, use of standard equipments. Standard equipments is nothing but usage of well-known machines. Says, for example, if you are going to use any foreign based machines, then in some cases that machine got corrupted and it will struck in some parts. So the machine have to be repaired so that the work will not be stopped. In that cases, you will not able to find the spare parts easily in the local market. So you have to be choose a material in which all the spare parts as well as all the things which is commonly available, so that if there is some emergency, you can able to buy all those spare parts and you can utilize and you can run the project without any delay. Then comes the unit cost production. Unit cost production is nothing but cost of machine. See, cost of machine plays a major role. If you are a big firm, then it is obviously you can able to buy the large scale machines or small scale machine because you have so much amount of money. Whereas in case of we are going to start a project now, since you are a young budding entrepreneur, you have to go for a rental basis machines or equipments initially. Then if your firm is growing day by day, then you can able to procure for your company. The machine can be paid for the company. So based on the project cost involved, you have to choose what type of material, what type of machines you are going to use for the particular project. Then comes the country of origin. As I said previously, if you are choosing foreign based machineries, you have to be careful. Why? Because some cases you will not able to get the spare parts or some other electronic devices which helps the machine to run continuously. So based on the availability of spare parts and materials and other components of components of your machineries, you have to select the machine for the construction activities. Then comes the versatility. Versatility means usage of machine for different purposes. Say, for example, if you buy a machine for one purpose, it can be utilized for different purposes. Say, for example, your JCB. JCB is mainly intended for excavating the soil. Moreover, it can be utilized for lifting the weights also. In buildings, more weights will be there. Say, for example, lifting of your steel sections So this JCB will be quite helpful for lifting of the steel section from the ground floor to the first floor, or ground floor to some other places where you want. Next comes the selection of manufacturer. As it said earlier, you have to be careful before selecting the machine for buying or else for a rental basis. Why? Because quality matters here. Selection of manufacturer is also quite important. Why? Because top brands like Mahindra, Caterpillar, and so on, these companies have larger lives, and also the spare parts will also be available globally. Uh, so that if there is any problem or any complaint, we can able to call the repair team from the manufacturing factory and getting ready the machine for the future works. So selection of manufacturer is also very important. And finally, suitability of your local labors. Once if you buy the machine, you have to train the local peoples first. Why? Because if no one is available for handling the machine, then it is waste, entirely waste. The money invested for buying the machine is waste. Therefore, proper training has to be given to the local laborers so that the work will not be delayed. The work will be completed as soon as possible. Then finally comes the technical consideration. Technical consideration in the sense the performance of your machineries or machines. Says, for example, strength of the machine. That is, then comes the rigidity, how rigid it is. Then vibration stable. Then resistance to wear, heat resistance, reliability, and maintainability. Maintainability is nothing but how the machine is going to perform for long run. So if the machine is performed for only short run, then the machine is useless, and automatically the money which you have spent for the machine is wasted. So you have to see, you have to be you have to be careful that the machine has to be run for a long run, so that you can able to perform multiple projects with the help of same machines, so that the cost involved for buying the machinery can be effectively utilized, so that in the upcoming projects you can able to save the money. Okay, thank you.